In the bustling world of business, you're either moving forward or falling behind. Welcome to For Action Takers Only, the podcast and Facebook group where dreams become reality. We're here to fuel your ambition, sharpen your skills, and inspire your entrepreneurial spirit. Dive into the sea of opportunities with our insightful discussions, expert advice, and powerful success stories. From investment strategies to business building tips, we've got it all. Are you ready to take your first step towards your dream life? Join us on this exciting journey, unleash your potential, and watch as your dreams transform into your reality. Remember, inaction is the enemy of progress. So get on the action train with For Action Takers Only. Because the time to act is now and the place to start is here. For those who dare to dream and have the courage to act, the world is their oyster. For Action Takers Only, where dreams meet action. Tune in, take action, and transform your life. Your future self will thank you.
And welcome to For Action Takers Only. Today I got David Cabrera. I can't say his name right. I can't roll those R's like he should, but I got David Cabrera from Houston, Texas. He is here in my hometown. I haven't gotten to meet him yet, but we're going to get to talking to him here in just a minute. And before we do, I want to give a shout out to my buddy that runs Chris Morris. He runs a Peacemaker Coffee Company out of Toledo, Ohio. It is a veteran family-owned business. They roast and pack the coffee in Toledo, Ohio. It is a medium low acidity coffee. They give back to the community and they support veterans. So the stuff is pretty good. I'm drinking it right now. I do like some of their flavors. The French toast is good, and their regular light roast is also a good one I like. Also, I want to SubTo. We're here promoting SubTo. I do promote SubTo. So if you would like to join SubTo and you hear about it and like what you hear, you can click the link in the description. There'll be one in the description, and you can join or check it out. Let's continue on. David, how you doing?
Doing great, Todd. Thank you for well inviting me to your podcast. I've always wanted to be on a podcast. I actually had this dream sort of talk with my friends back in Winder. So I always tell them, hey, we should always do a podcast because we have ideas, we have dreams, we want to share with opinions to the world, but we just never got around to it. So
Right.
thank you for starting to make that dream come true.
Well, thank you for being on. I very much appreciate you taking the time to do this too. And I see you on social media, and that's how I come across you. You've come into the group, and then I see you making posts also in regular social media all the time about what you're doing and events that are going on and stuff like that. So tell us, what is it that you do?
So what I'm currently doing is flipping land based off of Houston, Texas, but we do cover all of Texas. We have connections to builders. We have a good, wide variety of network. We'll sometimes dabble in single family houses, but mainly land is our specialty, and that's where we stick to our lane.
Mainly land. And how long have you been doing this?
I've only been doing this since late February, early March.
Of this year?
Yeah, this year.
Wow, awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Be
how did you go ahead?
Yeah, but before we like keep progressing, just want to do a quick shout out. Like I said, I've always wanted to be on a podcast. So my friends, we used to call ourselves the boys back in church. So shout out to Benjamin, Isai, Kevin, and Fareed. We're out
Hell yeah.
here making progress.
Keep it up. Keep it up too. Keep it up, man. This is what it's all about. The podcast is all about newbie entrepreneurs getting in and newbie real estate investors. So, what made you decide to get into doing real estate and land in particular?
Okay. So this starts off like maybe I want to say 19 months ago. I was just Uber driving. I was sort of sick of doing that, of just getting minimum wage. I never really have done like an actual 9 to 5 myself, so I've always had that entrepreneurial mindset. But I tried a lot of little stuff where like it's low entry level, and I did a little bit of like I said, I was an Uber driver. I opened up a store for a while on Etsy as well. So I was looking for like ideas of what can one do to start their own business because I've always found that appealing, try to work for myself. I don't come from money. I don't come from like a rich family or have connections like other people do, but
Mm-hmm.
we deal with the cards that we're given, and that's always been sort of my mindset. So getting to how I got into real estate was I was driving and I decided to stop listening to just music and stop listening to entertainment as well, and decided to like, okay, let's try and listen to some sort of podcasts. And I came across a wholesale hotline.
Oh,
So
okay.
that caught my attention. So everything really started from there. So that's where I met Brent Daniels. Really love his energy, the way he talks, because when you're driving, you really can't see, so you can just hear. So I just had my headphones on while the customer was in the back, and I would like listen to them. That's sort of where I learned a little bit more about also Pace and also Jamil, because I mean they're an incredible trio right there. So you start going down the rabbit hole. I
Mm-hmm.
started joining the Facebook groups. I started like doing my own research because I didn't have money as well to join the memberships, even though I wanted to really badly. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, I can't really do that, but they have amazing free resources out there, the Facebook groups, the YouTube videos, the podcasts. So I would just be driving and just listening and consuming information. And there was a point where I decided to, okay, it was a Sunday evening. I was like, I'm just gonna pick up the phone. I'm just gonna make a call. I decided to like pull a list. I paid for a list. It was like 100 numbers or so,
Yeah.
and I was pretty scared too because I was like, I don't know if this is gonna work at all. Like, are people really gonna even consider a nobody to put an offer on their house when I have no like credit, no like pre-approved letter or any of that kind of stuff? So I was
Mm-hmm.
pretty nervous. But like after my fifth call, someone actually picked up the phone, and it was on a Sunday evening, and it turns out that it was a Hispanic speaker too. So I had to speak in Spanish, and I basically said, "Está interesado en vender su casa? Are you interested in selling your house?" And he said yes. So I was really excited. I was like, "Oh shoot, somebody actually said yes," and I told my uncle, I was like, uncle, somebody actually wants to hear an offer on this. And I was like, okay, what's the next step? What's the next step? So I stopped doing the seller calls because I was like, okay, I got this. But little did I know there's a little bit more nuances to it. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
really ask qualifying questions. I didn't really do the whole 9 yards yet. I just had someone interested and I had an address and I had an agreement to go take pictures. That was basically it. And then I would give him an offer.
Okay.
So from there, I started like, because I also while I was Uber driving, I would like take pictures of those bandit signs.
Mm-hmm.
What's it? We buy cash. So I
Right.
would, I had on my phone like those bandit sign numbers, and I started calling them. So that was my next step. I was like, okay, I'm gonna get a hold of another wholesaler that's already doing deals because that's what I sort of learned from the podcast. How can you get in touch with somebody when you're like a nobody? It took also like more like 10 calls, I think 10 or 8 calls of calling them because some of them were automated calls, some of them had VAs pick up and like I gave them my contact information, they never called me. But one of them actually picked up the phone and I explained to him, I was very sincere. I was like, I'm very new to this. I found a seller. I don't know if you can help me go forward with this. And he was very agreeable. He said, let's meet in person, which was great. We met at a Starbucks. I introduced a little bit more myself. He told me what am I doing, what are my goals, my objectives, and from there it sort of went downhill, like, well, not downhill, uphill, I guess. My journey
Yeah.
to starting to wholesale and learn the process from A to
That's
Z.
That's awesome. Now we got a couple takeaways there I got to point out. You got
Yeah.
one is all right, you got on, you just started listening to podcasts and
But I did listen to the podcast for like 3 months without actually taking action. I was just consuming information.
there's nothing wrong with that. That's you're learning as you go too, but you started here's the takeaway is that you went into the free groups. You said, "Hey, I don't have money." So you went to the free groups and started learning what you needed to learn, right? So
Mhm.
that's the biggest thing I wanted to point out is like, hey, there's free groups, and Pace always says within SubTo that he doesn't require you to join the community. He actually tells a lot of people, hey, you can learn everything you need to learn in the free group. You don't need to join the community to learn what you need to know to do this stuff. So he makes that a point. The other thing is you were hitting on is once you started doing it, you got some lists. Is how you were talking about who's gonna actually sell to a nobody, who's gonna
Mhm.
listen to me and stuff like that. So you're hitting on stuff like these are battles we gotta confront when we start doing this because you're not the only one that has that feeling, that I'm a no. Who's going to listen to me? I'm a nobody. Who's gonna sell their property to me? Who's going to, I got a real thing with like when I get calls or I got to call $1 million property or close to $1 million property. It's like, ooh, I start having this imposter syndrome. These people aren't going to want to talk to me. I don't
Mhm.
have that kind of money to really buy the house. I'm trying to do a creative or sub too. So it's like, are they going to take me serious? I always wonder that and worry about that. So how did you now with those kind of feelings, how did you overcome that stuff getting into it? You just seem to just go right into it.
Yeah, it's sort of like you either have to sink or swim. I've always had that in my life. Like I've always tried to throw myself out there. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, doesn't. But I guess it's a weird analogy. But my uncle, when I had a little puppy, we were walking through this lake park, and he
Mhm.
just suddenly grabs the dog and just throws my dog into the lake, and I was like screaming, "No, why'd you do that? He's gonna die." So that was a childhood experience right there, like sink or swim.
Right?
Fortunately, my dog did make it back to to the shore, but
Yeah.
that has always sunk in there that in life you really have to like either like get into it or else you won't know what you're made of until you start taking that action.
Right. So what really pushed you though to start taking that action? Why did you say, "Okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this now. I'm not going to just sit here and watch the videos and consume any more information." You said you watched or listened to podcasts for like 3 months. What was your
Exactly.
first action step then?
My first action, well, it was basically I'm sort of like a little bit of a perfectionist. I like having all my ducks in a row as
Mhm.
well, but after a while, you start to like just have that shiny object syndrome and just get in that cycle and you start to get fed up. So a way to get out of that is to actually take that first call, pick up that phone and just
So you said you
have that
bought a list?
experience.
Your first trying to get leads, you bought a list?
I did buy a list because
And
I
what
really didn't understand how to use the other free methods, or I didn't really want to waste time on that. I just wanted to get proof of concept really.
okay. And how many addresses and stuff or properties did they give you on this list?
I just got 100. I was pretty
100?
cheap on it too. Yeah.
What did that cost you? What did that cost you for 100 addresses?
I think it was like $10 or something. I was like,
10 bucks. And you're like, "Hey, I'll try
yeah,
this for 10 bucks."
yeah,
So what'd you do? You got the list, you bought the list, and you just started calling and saying, "Hey, you wanna sell your house?" Is that what you did?
yeah,
Pretty much, huh?
pretty much. Yeah.
And
I
then
didn't really hit the four pillars at that time. I just wanted to know if somebody would pick up and if they would be even slightly interested.
And you got one slightly interested out of that, huh?
I did.
So what happened with that one? Anything come of it?
It did not. It didn't work at the end because, like I told you, once I brought this to Ben. Ben is the one that helped me out
Mm-hmm.
and started teaching me the process, how to comp. So I had a lot of misconception as well because, again, I never really dealt in real estate, so I had the mindset that, oh, properties are valued a lot. But now I've learned that, well, yes, it's valued to a retail buyer, to someone that wants to live there. But
Mm-hmm.
when you're trying to make an investment out of this, you're trying to make money out of this, then there has to be a discount or else the numbers don't make sense. So
Right.
now I've started to learn to see the stuff from the buyer's perspective and not from, yeah, the investor's perspective and not from the seller's perspective, because I was also like the seller, like, oh, okay, all I have to do is offer maybe 30K under what he's asking me, and then I can make my money in the middle. I don't know, that was my
Yeah.
thought process with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had to unfortunately go back to the guy and tell him his house wasn't really worth what he was asking. It was almost half of what he wanted, and it didn't work out. But
Yeah. How did he respond to that?
yeah, he was gonna say, well, because he did have some pain points. He was tired of having his family, because that's the main reason he wanted to get rid of it, just because he didn't want his family freeloading on that house. But I guess at the end of things, he preferred that over taking half of what it was worth, because the house was in a pretty distressed condition.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm having to learn too that, it's like we get into doing this and everybody, yes, has priced their home for retail ready, though it's not retail ready. It's not, it's nowhere near retail ready usually. And you got to kind of educate them. So I'm having to learn how to educate them. I'm having a struggle with that. That's a struggle on my part. Negotiating, because I feel, I understand the seller needs and wants what they want. This has been their home, so I kind of when I start negotiating and coming down on price, sometimes I feel like, man, I'm fucking them over.
Yeah,
I don't want to be, and it's like they need this. They need to get what they need for their house, but it's also they got to understand it's like, hey, we are an investment company. You're not going to pretty much sell the house otherwise. Usually, I also had to learn that usually people coming to investors are coming to us for a reason because they can't sell it a traditional way. They're going to lose money anyway. It's going to cost them. They're going to have to fork out of pocket. So
yeah.
a lot of times, hey, go try and do the realtor, instruct them to go do that. And they see, oh, well, it's going to cost me 30,000 to sell my house. And with the investor, I'm not getting exactly what I want, but I'll get some money in my pocket.
Hmm.
You know?
So now every time, like, I do get on the phone, my conversations have changed a little bit. It's more of asking them and setting expectations from the forefront. Like, hey, so my name is David. I work with a company, and we're not going to be able to offer you top dollar, just so you're aware. So this conversation really isn't more of like how much I'm going to buy this for. It's more of like me trying to understand what options I can give you. And it's more like a consultation. And then from there, I've learned the different techniques. Not only can I offer cash, I can offer a novation, I can offer a SubTo, and I can even offer to refer to a real estate agent and get a referrals fee that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so now it's sort of like a little bit more of a fun game, being able to talk to these sellers and actually understand their needs. Like, what are you trying to accomplish with trying to sell this to me? And I can tell you the options from there on.
There you go. You're hitting the head. You got to set expectations and you got to know what they want. And they have to know what they want. A lot of people just figure, hey, I just want the money, right? I just want
Mhm.
this dollar sign. That's all they see. But what are you trying to do? And then, try to figure out the problem. You're doing great at that, and a whole lot better than I am. Oh boy, I'm struggling with this. So you hit on another thing though. When we first started, you had the where you didn't feel like you're hey, these people aren't going to buy from me. Imposter syndrome. You had like an
Exactly.
imposter syndrome. How did you deal with that?
I still sometimes struggle with it, but it's what helps a lot is having that trust. Like another thing that pushed me towards this is because the podcast I was listening to, these people obviously, you know, how they work and how they put a lot of emphasis on mindset. So having that ability to say, hey, I might not have all the answers, but if I can get the ball rolling, if I can just get my foot in the door, I can always get a support from the group or from someone because this is a very active, proactive community and people willing to lend you a hand and help you get across the finish line. So that's sort of what keeps me going. Like, okay, I can just put my foot in the door. Someone's gonna help me. I don't know exactly who's gonna help me, but I know as long as I have that, that's a step right there going the right direction.
And you're absolutely right. I mean, you're not in the SubTo community. You're in the free group, right?
Exactly.
And you're able to reach out and find people that help you, right?
I've communicated with Sub2 people, Astro flipping people, and some TTP people as well.
All right. Yeah, there's a big community, and there's a lot of people in SubTo here in Houston.
Yeah,
So we need to hook up. Have you ever heard of the Houston Power Hour?
I have. So that I've sort of visited back in August of last year.
Okay.
Cause like, I was just trying to do wholesaling for a while, so I
Mm,
was with Ben. Ben wasn't part of any community. He was just a straight up wholesaler. Um, but we tried it. I like offered to cold call for him and stuff like that, but we weren't really getting where I needed to get. So he
mhm,
was like, "Well, you're free to like do other stuff as well if you want." So I sort of like, well, I'm still gonna try and help you out, but yes, I do need to like network a little bit more. And I was really appreciative of him because he basically just had me like get on the phones and teach me his scripts, teach me what to look for, how to comp, and all of that stuff. But I also wanted to see, okay, now that I have this information, is there any other options? Because we were just basically offering cash at that time. And like
mhm,
I said, now I can offer cash, I can offer creative, I can offer retail now because you have to eventually be able to expand your horizons and then keep acquiring new skills. So that's
mhm,
when I actually joined the meetups, Power Hour House. You guys have it in different title companies. I think Patent Title was when I first went there.
yep.
Um, I really love how oh, I forgot his name is kind of embarrassing.
Who, Jeff
It,
Smith?
yeah, Jeff Smith. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
he's
the
the popular one. Yep.
yeah, he really impressed me when he did his direct to agent thing because like I was doing direct to seller, but then
Okay.
after a while I wanted to switch it a little bit because I was able to dedicate a good amount of time trying to like be at home and just do that. But I wasn't really focusing on producing money like driving and stuff. So when I heard about the
Mhm.
direct to agent outreach, that sort of caught my attention. It's like, okay, I can now just make relationships with agents and I can still be making money myself because reality is that bills don't wait. They're always there at the end of every month. So if you're able to focus and make money, which I did, but it wasn't consistent enough. There wasn't enough of I can live off of this yet because I was just making small margins.
Mhm.
So I needed to keep driving on the offside just to offset some incoming bills. So then I did the agent outreach, and from there I sort of like kept doing that until I met on a Facebook group, somebody posted, "Hey, someone wants to join my acquisitions team. His name is Baskar Pandy." and he's basically a land guy. So I like decided to like hit him up. I sent him a message. He interviewed me. He asked me what was my experience, what have I been doing, and stuff like that. And he gave me that chance to like join the team, and that's sort of where I then got into land and started learning the process of flipping land.
Yeah, I was going to ask you what made you decide to do that. So we just got that story. So how's it going with the land flipping? How are you liking that? How did you like this guy that you hooked up with?
Yeah, with Baskar, he's an amazing mentor. He really puts 120% on everything he does. Like he has systems in place, he has connections in place. So I'm basically just leveraging off what he's built already. And
Okay.
also a reason I like working with him is because now I get to deal with the warm leads. Because this whole past year was me having to deal with the actual cold calling myself, which I think is essential for anybody starting off. You need to start off cold
Yeah.
calling. You need to be in the trenches. You have to understand and get those rejections, get those
See what
3 to
it's like.
4 hours of nobody replying. I know how it feels just dialing and dialing and
Making
nobody ever
hundreds of
picks up their
calls.
phone.
Yeah.
Huh?
Making hundreds of calls. When I started, I was doing it the old fashioned way. I mean, I'm actually sitting there doing this and doing this. My buddy was giving me some lists, and I'm like, how the hell am I supposed to get through all these numbers like this? And well, you get
Yeah.
a dialer. I'm like, well, I can't really afford a dialer yet, so I'm having to do this. And then I figured out how to do a little something with Google Sheets, and then and Google, your Google phone number. I was
Yeah,
like,
Google
oh,
Voice and Google Sheets. That's how I started.
yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
figured that out, and I thought, oh wow, this is awesome. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, so when I joined his team, thankfully I already had experience and he was asking qualifying questions because he didn't just want anybody joining his team. I
Okay.
think he interviewed a couple other people, and out of everybody that he interviewed, he picked me and he picked Courtney. So only two of us made it and were able to join that team this year.
Cool. So is are you doing this full time now?
Yes, from Monday through Friday, I go to the office. That's why I was like, if we want to do it on a Saturday or Sunday, I'm able to make time. But yeah, Monday through
Uh-huh.
Friday,
So
we're
Monday
just
through
there at
Friday,
the office.
full time on the team.
Exactly.
So have you done some deals already?
Yeah, we put 4 contracts right now. I currently have waiting. When I started off, it did take a while just because it was a different process. But within my 4 weeks, I did land a first contract because he has like this whole setup system where he wanted us to learn a little bit more about the back end of stuff
Mhm.
before actually getting on the phone with the clients.
Okay.
Yeah.
And did you like that process?
Um, a little bit. I was more of like I just want to make money,
I
but
just wanna
but
get busy
but
and yeah.
yeah, but I trusted him. I trusted the process because when he did put that post out, I did vet out his profile a little bit as well. Because I think one of the reasons it didn't work out with Ben was because he was also limited on funds and resources, and I was limited on fund and resources. He was a little bit more ahead of the game than I was,
Mhm.
so I'm grateful for things he taught me there, but he also didn't have as much to invest as Baskar does. Baskar has 2 VAs, he has these whole Facebook groups where leads are just coming in, joint venture leads are coming in, and I just spend all my morning just underwriting, and then in the afternoons, I spent getting on the phone and submitting those offers. So that's one of the things that make this move forward, this business. How many offers are you actually able to submit? So if I'm able to like overcome like first getting the person on the phone and stuff like that,
Mhm.
because that's like the difficult part, like the keeping a constant pipeline full of leads. I think it's the major struggle that everybody's gonna hit when they start off.
Right. So are you doing this is strictly land only now, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And how many offers do you think you're sending out a day?
I'm basically sending out 4 to 5 a day.
Okay. And how are you now? Let me ask you this because I have no idea on land. I'm still a newbie with real estate, so with land, I'm lost. And you talked about underwriting. How did you learn to underwrite land? Who taught you that skill? Where did you start getting
Yeah,
that? Where did you start developing that?
within like the first 4 weeks, it was all the training of like how to pull up the LML MLS, how to like look at the location, how to divide the square feet, use the calculator, all that good stuff. So within those 4 weeks,
All right. So what
that's
are
that's
some
the one that taught me.
he's the one that taught you. So what are some of the key things on land that you look for? Like, is there something when you're buying a piece of land, is there some land that you want to stay away from?
There is plenty of land. Location does matter a lot. Right now, we do have one locked up. It's in the Fifth Ward, but we weren't aware of it as well. But right now, apparently, the ones that are right by the railroad, there's a whole cancer lawsuit, so nobody's wanting to touch land there,
Ooh.
even if it's super cheap.
And how did you find out about that?
Well, 'cause, Courtney, my partner, was the one that locked it up, and I went and drove over there to take pictures and stuff, and one of the neighbors told us, "You don't wanna buy that land right there," and he told me about the whole thing, like, "Don't you listen to the news and stuff?"
Oh, well, how would one? Yeah, that you come across land like that, and that's going to be hard to sell. So you're luckily you didn't lock that one up, huh?
Yeah.
So
So location does matter.
right. So how would someone find out though if there's something going on with land like that? You really want to find that out before you go and purchase it.
Yeah. We do have a 30-day option period, so that does gives us time to like do it our due diligence. Because when we do present it to a builder, we don't just tell them here, this is what we got. We actually do the whole 9 yards. Like, can it have septic or is it sewer? What does the city allow to build on it? Can you do a single family or a duplex? Can you subdivide it or it can't be subdivided? Um, what electric companies service that area? What water companies service that area? So we basically do all of that to present it to a builder, and then they'll like say yes or no.
Okay,
But
so you're
and
also
that yeah, that helps them take us a little bit more seriously, like our price. Okay, our price is this price because we've already done a lot of due diligence instead of just somebody saying, "Hey, we want so much for this." Do your own due diligence.
and I think I should get that because my buddy sold his land for the same amount, and he had
Mhm.
just about the same amount of land. So we should get the same amount.
Yeah,
I love when they do that. Yeah, my buddy down the street sold his house, and he sold it for this much. So that's why I think my house should be that much too.
yeah.
So just land. Are you now? You're talking a lot about approaching the land deals with developers. So are you just looking mostly in and around Houston, or do you do like way out in the country land, rural land?
We stick to infill lots if it's within the city, because a lot of our clients are luxury custom builders. They're basically looking for places where a $1 million house can be built on. So the spreads are bigger there.
Okay. So
So that's why I say location matters a lot too, because if it's in a neighborhood where like, and this happened recently, where I saw this person, he built a house double the size of anybody in his neighborhood,
oh, shit.
and now he's having a hard time to sell it, even
Right.
on the MLS, because you do
This,
the math, you do the calculator, it makes sense per square foot,
mhm,
but it's just a neighborhood. Nobody's gonna wanna pay all
that
that
much.
money, yeah, much money for a location that all the other houses devalue it. So it was a really tough conversation with that guy.
Right. Now that makes a lot of sense though.
Yeah.
So that is it. And how would I that's their where how would they sell that one? That would I guess be creative so they can get them close to the price that they want and I don't know.
Yeah.
luckily that we have all these solutions, right? So we should be able to find and help them. Got to learn them. So you're working on this team and doing. How many deals have you done so far since you've been in doing this? You're doing this full
Uh,
time.
yeah, one a month.
What you do about one a month?
Yeah, right now, yeah.
So what's your average commission or assignment fee on these? What do you make on a land deal?
So I only get 20%. We
Okay.
try to aim for 15 spread every time.
Hmm.
So on average, it'll be like three.
Okay. One a month though. You're doing one a month. Where are you
Yeah.
finding the leads?
We have Deal Machine.
Deal machine. And
Yeah,
what does
we
that
pull
do?
that. It's basically a software where you're able to like pull a list of certain zip codes and areas of land and just start calling from there.
Okay. And how much does that cost a month?
I want to say it's around the 90s range, 97 probably. It's kind of like prop stream.
Okay.
Yeah,
So that one you can just pull lists and it does the skip tracing for you. It already has all the information. You just call them up, or are you having
exactly.
VAs call these lists?
Yeah, the VAs are the ones in charge of calling the list.
All right, and then they're setting you up with warm lead appointments.
Exactly.
So are you closing?
Doing my best.
Doing your best?
Yeah.
How do you like it? How do you negotiating and all that?
Yeah, I've been loving the process of learning it
Okay.
and really just getting on the phone and having a normal conversation with these sellers because a lot of these sellers have unrealistic expectations and it's a weird market because they want top dollar, but at the same time builders aren't going to pay top dollar because I think it's from, I don't know if it's 2022 prices that they're still set on. Like, but this house or this land got sold. My neighbor sold this for that much. Well, yeah, but that was a different year. So,
Right.
yeah.
There's so many factors, but here prices. How about on land? I know in homes prices still have gone up. So and prices
Mm,
are still
well,
coming going up a little
prices are
bit.
being listed as going up, but if you check, they're sitting there like 6, 9 months. Nobody's touching
You're
them.
right. True. There
So,
are, yeah.
yeah, so that's something I have with these sellers. Like, yes, I see that one's listed for 120, but it's been sitting there for almost 9 months, so there's really no motivation there.
How long does land usually sit? You know,
Um,
does it
when
usually sit
it's
a bit longer than houses? I mean, I don't know anything about land, so
yeah, yeah, maybe that's another reason too, because everybody's looking for a deal. So if it's on the MLS, people start discarding it automatically for some reason. So
mhm.
like, oh, it's not a good deal.
Now, are you looking for ones when you start hitting these? You pull in list. You got deal maker. So, but do you ever like just go on yourself and look for ones that have been on listed for say over 180 days or something, and start hitting those?
I personally haven't, because right now, like I said, a good problem I'm having is just having to underwrite all the ones that are being sent to us or the VAs are submitting because the VAs have been submitting like close to 5 to 8 a day. So
Wow. So you're doing a lot of underwriting.
yeah.
So you're really sharpening your skills there. Then that's an important skill to have.
hmm
What are some of the key things you have to look at for underwriting land?
Yeah. So like I mentioned, it's location. After
Hmm.
that, if it's in a flood zone, if it's in a flood zone, we have to sorta lower the price even more because there are builders that are willing to take it, but our buyer pool gets smaller, so we have to be more conservative. Also, we have to make sure the frontage, like how much room is there or access to the road, because some
Hmm.
of these are really oddly shaped, like triangles or like something, and there's
Oh,
only
yeah.
like 20 feet that you can, well then in 20 feet you can't really put the machinery that these builders are trying to put in, you need
Right.
at least 50 feet of frontage for them to comfortably be able to work.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's all those little details. Let's see what else do I look. I look around at how much actually other lots have sold around that area and for what
Hmm.
price.
Okay.
So
And
it's
what's
sort of like, yeah, like comping a house. We see what was recently sold, take the average, and see how much price per square feet what we can offer.
all right? And then
And
once you get all that, you go and you approach builders, huh? You just start marketing it to builders.
exactly,
So you'll have a whole list of builders you approach with these.
we do.
Okay. And how often these builders buying them up pretty quick or what?
They are. Right now, we have one. He's tasked us with at least providing him 7 this month alone. He was like, "Are you guys up to the challenge?" And they gave us some zip codes. So we've this Friday did a lot of mailers, and we're pretty confident we're gonna be able to meet their quota.
Okay. What's the average size lot that you're looking for?
It's gonna be 5,000 square feet to 10,000 square feet.
Okay. And how many acres is that?
It's like 0.11 to point 0.2.
Okay. So you
Yeah,
don't need super huge lots. You're not looking like a lot of acreage in the city. You just need little ones so they can either build a home or say a little
or a
apartment
duplex.
complex or yeah, little
Yeah.
fourplex or something. Yeah, throw something up. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, another thing now that you mention it, uh, these builders do nitpick a lot. They recently rejected one just because there was a church down the street.
Really? He
Yeah.
rejected the property because there was a church down the street?
Yeah.
And that was his only reason he didn't like the church.
Yeah. Well, he gave an explanation. He was like, there's too much traffic going for what he was trying to build. And it just told him a little bit more about the area. Like I said again, the neighborhood matters a lot, what they're trying to build and accomplish. So
Right.
having a church means there's going to be a lot of traffic, and I guess that wouldn't really attract someone trying to like live in a really nice home, a lot of
Right. Yeah, if it's a busy road or yeah. And I guess if you're wanting to put up a store or a shopping center, and you gotta think about what's around too, huh?
yeah.
So, depends on what kind of stores are in the shopping center. So, tell me about your, first off, the media company. You have 2 websites I see on your Facebook. Tell me about the media company.
Oh, Inicio Media.
Oh, yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, so that's my little pet project. Just because I also am an integrator. If you guys start learning about the avatars, I basically like to do the back end stuff as well. And I got into the software stuff, and that's sort of why I think we hit it off with Baskar. Because when I was at the interview, he was like, "You're not closer material. You're not a salesman." Because he did give me a personality test, and
Uh-huh.
mine came out not what he was expecting. So he was upfront with me, but I was able to like bring value on the other stuff, on the tech stuff. So he's like, I'm gonna give you a chance. And that's sort of what I really wanted. Cause I also knew myself. I was like, well, one thing I don't really like cold calling myself. I want to be
Right.
part of a team that brings leads in already. But so that's why I sort of did my own research on how to generate leads and stuff. So that's sort of where like I kind of branched off into social media as well, because my main question was after I learned like the whole process from A to Z, the contracts, the terminology, the how to make a good offer, how to find a buyer and stuff. Now my main problem was how do I generate consistent leads? So
Yeah.
there were a couple of options, and I did apply to other groups like to join their team, and I've got rejected because I didn't fit their criteria as well. So I was like,
Mhm.
okay, let me try and generate leads through social media. So that's where the whole Inicio Media was born off as well, out of trying to constantly be able to supply myself with some opportunities.
Awesome. So
Yeah.
tell us about the CRM a little bit. Explain how it works.
Basically, it's just like your place to keep track of leads that are coming in. Really, is just to simplify everything and put them on long-term follow-ups because a lot of these deals are gotten like months afterwards. Like people rarely ever say yes on the first call. You have to be like on them. Like when you first get them, you talk to them, then the second day you talk to them, and then after that, a third day. After that, then you wait 2 weeks, and then after 2 weeks, you put them on a 30 day. After 30 day, you put them on the 60 day, and on 60 day, you put them on a 90 day. Just constantly being on top of their mind the whole year.
All right. So does your CRM utilize AI?
It does.
Okay, cool. So
Yeah.
it's sending out little messages and little AI messages and
Yeah, so there's a lot of leads in the pipeline that I don't even know. Like I've called them and stuff, but they're just there, and then out of nowhere, someone will pop up and come back to me and like, "Are you still buying?" Because of that little automatic message that was sent like 3 months later down the line.
huh. Huh.
Yeah,
So when did you start this? How long have you been doing that with the media?
with the media stuff,
Mhm.
I want to say around the same time as when I started
Okay.
learning the subject to
All
SubTo,
right.
because that's when I was starting to do the agent outreach. Oh, yeah, okay. That's another reason. I did join the Astro Blaster community. I
Okay.
joined that. So that's sort of where I got the idea of Go High Level and how it works, because
All
I
right.
was doing agent outreach, and then I just applied what I learned from agent outreach to seller outreach,
All
and
right.
now I just apply it to land seller outreach. I mean, you can apply this to anything really, as long as you have an ideal client, as long as you have the systems and process in place, you're gonna get someone.
All right. So your system, the system with the team, is it sending out messages, or you just have VAs calling people, cold calling people, and then setting up appointments for you? Is that how the flow works?
N- it's more of that. It's 2 VAs are calling, but also a lot of it is automatic SMS, and we also get the emails, and we send out email reminders.
Okay.
For Memorial Day, we sent out this sort of like special promo to land sellers, like Happy Memorial Day, you can get this much for your land, and some people actually replied back.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh wow.
yeah. So being able to get not cold email. This is very important. You need emails that have been previously provided by the seller so you know that they actually checked their email. Those we have them in our system too, and we'll just send them on holidays, special occasions, the company logo name, saying, "Hey, this is. Do you want to know how much we can offer for your land?" Stuff like that.
All right. So I'm wondering, do though, I don't know if you know this, but I wonder if it's the same with land. It probably is, and people just overvalue it, or the people that own it think, "Oh, this is worth way more than it actually is all the time." Like
Yeah,
you said
it
earlier,
is.
that they put that retail value on there. They think, "Oh yeah, my buddy's down the street sold it for this much, so mine's got to be worth that much."
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the same. It really, again, depends on what the builder is trying to accomplish on that land. A lot of these sellers try to pitch, "Oh, but you can put a duplex on it. You can put 3 houses on it." No, you can't.
Yeah. They already,
No,
"Oh yeah, you know, you can put a duplex on this and really bank, so you ought to pay me this much more for the land." Yep. That's
yeah,
how yeah, I could imagine them doing that. They're telling you what you can put on the land.
yeah.
So are you when you're looking at the land then? So when you come across the one, okay, this is a deal, this is good location, and are you already considering what builders might fit with the
Yeah,
lot?
exactly. Yeah.
Okay. So what kind of builders are you working with?
like mainly custom luxury
Custom
home builders,
homes?
custom homes.
Okay, so you're not doing like
Yeah.
commercial building builders or anything like that?
Oh no, we stay out of a commercial. The reason we do is just because the time frame is longer.
Okay.
And that's one of the things that I love about being on Bascar's team because he considers everybody's position and everybody's needs. So the reason we've niched down and kept on this one is because it's the same amount of work, but the spreads are bigger. Like I said, we always aim for 15 to 30. That's the spread. That way, when it's divided up, everybody's able to eat. And then our turn time around is like 30 days or sooner. I think the quickest is probably 2 weeks,
Okay.
but we usually have listings for 30 up to 60 days just to have that time period.
All right. So this Builders Land Source, is that Bascar's webpage?
It is.
Okay, and that's the team you're on. So builderslandsource.com.
Hmm.
Okay. And
And it's been really good source of leads as well because people have been looking us up and have been submitting their information. And I'll also will hop on a call. Like I do mainly the seller side, but when needed, I will hop on a call with some developers just to like give them the attention that they need because we're trying to build relationships again. Like I said, real estate is also about having real relationships and people that you can trust and tell them, hey, how much can we do this before actually going out there and negotiating? So that helps a lot too. So we try to maintain our builders happy by getting on a call with them and just seeing what they're trying to accomplish as well.
all right. So hey, how are you feeling about or how would you feel about like helping someone else learn how to do flip land, sell land, get into doing what you're doing?
Yeah, I'm always open to that, and I sometimes will occasionally put my book a call with me little link. There have been people that have reached out to me as well. I'll hop on maybe 30 minutes and try and give you as much as I can. Within those 30 minutes, just tell you, okay, we have builders looking in these zip codes, look for these sizes, make sure this is not around that location. And sometimes we'll even be able to like give like you don't even have to comp. You have I'll just tell you, hey, our builder's willing to pay 90K for this. So if you're able to lock this up at 50, 60, 70, or 80, go ahead, lock it up. We already know he's gonna be able to pay 90 for it.
Okay. So you
Yeah.
already you go into some with already having, okay, we know we can get and make on this. That's cool.
Hmm.
All right. So what
Yeah,
are
because that's
go ahead.
sort of what Baskar has built there. Like he's built those relationships with builders are trusting him to provide him with the criteria they want. So that way I can also pass it down like and let somebody else try and also look for areas in that zip code.
All right. You talk a lot about is it Bascar?
Yeah, Baskar.
BAS? Okay.
Bshakar.
All right. As long as yeah, it's Bascar. Okay. So that's your mentor. And
Yeah.
how did you meet him? How did you run
Facebook.
across just Facebook?
Yeah,
Just run across
yeah,
him?
he posted looking for an acquisitions
Oh,
um
okay. And is he
member to
local here
join
to
my
Houston?
team. He is.
All right. So you got to so you meet him in person then, and you go to the office.
Yeah,
Well, if you go to the office, obviously you do.
yeah, yeah.
So, and how long have you been on that team?
Since early March
March of this year? Not
of this year. Yeah,
okay. And again, when did you start doing real estate? Was it February of this year or February of last year?
February of last year.
February of last year. Okay.
Yeah.
So what's your goal now?
My
What are
goal,
goals? Yeah.
uh, my goal right now is to for now is basically just to have that steady income. Maybe next year I'll decide to start scaling up a little bit more, but right now I think I'm at a good place.
Okay. You got your own CRM on the dot media. In how do you say it? Inicio?
Inicio.
Inicio. Okay, inicio.media.
Mhm.
So that's solely yours, right? That's not part of your teams. You did that on your own.
Yeah, that's on my own.
Okay, cool. So are you getting any response on that? You out there
I
pushing that?
have.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a couple of people that have come up to me and like, "Hey, how do you have yours set up?" I was like, "Okay, well, I mean, I can do it for you, but for like a monthly subscription."
Hell yeah.
You know?
Exactly. That's what you should be doing.
Mhm.
That's what everybody's doing. So if you got that, yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah.
So if you got that skill, do that. So and two, when we're done, I need you to send me all your links for the website. That website, I have the one for Builders Land Source, and then I got that too. I'll put that in there. But anything else, any other links, social media links you want me to put in the description, send my way.
Instagram, yeah, Sales Hound Dave.
Okay,
That's really it. I don't really
where people
maybe
can find
Facebook,
you.
but yeah, Instagram and those websites are basically it.
All right, and if you want
Best
to
way
learn
to
how
touch
to
me.
if you want to learn how to do land, David's willing to lead you in the right directions.
Yeah, I will. I'm willing to hop on a 30-minute call and just give them a quick overview of what actual places we're actually looking at and how much they can lock it up at. So that
Mm,
way they don't even have to like really stress out like if it's gonna be a deal or not.
yeah. So I never got to ask you though, what were you doing before you got into real estate and doing the land thing? What were you doing?
Yeah, I was doing like I said, Uber driving. I
Oh,
opened up my own little store.
okay.
Um,
So
before that,
you always had
yeah,
this entrepreneur mindset.
yeah,
You just wanted to work for yourself. You didn't see any benefit working for others, huh?
no.
Yeah. That's the same way I was. I didn't know I was an entrepreneur, but I just didn't see benefit in working for other people. I see their benefit. I don't see mine. No.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when I was younger, I did help a lot. Like maybe from 16 to 21, I did help in landscaping. I did painting. I did a little bit of fencing, a little bit of electric wiring, like as an apprentice and stuff. But
Okay.
it just never really was my thing. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've always been Uber driving and always trying to think of ideas. For a while, I even opened up my own landscaping company. That was from 22 to 25. I had a
Yeah.
landscaping thing, but that lasted a little bit because my cousins convinced me to use my credit to get into a trucking business. So I
Uh-oh.
got into that. So from 26 to 30,
Yeah.
yeah, from 26 to 30, like another 5 years, I was trying to do the whole trucking thing. And then they added, let's open up a restaurant thing. Uh, both, both of them went down south because I over leveraged my credit and didn't really know what I was doing. So
Oh,
that's why I had to go back to Uber driving.
okay. But I
Yeah,
bet you
but
learned
I've
a whole lot.
always yeah, I've always been looking on how to start a business. But yeah, so I guess my younger teens, I did work as an apprentice in these fields. From
Right.
yeah, from my like younger 20s, I did open up a landscaping company, but that was just basically myself. So I didn't really scale it up. It was just me in a truck with a lawnmower going to people's houses. I would do like maybe 3 to 4 and call it a day.
Yeah, it's a lot, especially midsummer here in Houston time too.
Yeah,
Yeah, man, you'd be wore out after 3 or 4. Yep.
yeah. And then, like I said, I try to do business with my family, but it didn't go well because that's the thing. I was sort of more like stumbling along my way. Just I didn't really ever have an actual mentor. Like my
But now you do.
whole Yeah, now I do. So
Yeah.
so now I can see the difference from my 20s to my 30s now. I'm currently 33. So I see a whole difference. I was like,
All right, 33
yeah.
years old.
So
So
if you're in your young 20s and you have that ability to get a mentor, I highly suggest it because it's gonna
do it.
shortcut a lot of stuff, like the learning curve is just gonna be shorter. Because like
Right.
I said, with Baskar, only in 4 weeks I've progressed this much. Like he wasn't gonna let us hit the phones or get with sellers until we had everything that he had in his way down to a science.
Okay. So, but I like how he does that though. He does a lot with the back end before he gets you on the phone. So he does some training with you. This is why you're going to be doing that. I
Mm.
like that. So how can others find him? What's Baskar online? So is he willing to train other people?
Oh, he's not.
He's not. He doesn't
No,
take on.
that's why he trained me and Courtney.
Okay.
So, cause he's gonna go to another level. Like
He's just building his business right now.
he's on a higher level right now. So that's why I'm so grateful to be part of it, of something great that he's building and being part of that vision. Cause right now his time is basically focused on higher upper connections. I don't know. So he won't be able to take the phone that
All right.
quickly.
So anybody you currently studying off of right now? Anything you currently learning that's in your pursuit for this?
Like
Books you're reading, any kind of podcast you're currently listening to?
right now, not a lot, just cause Monday through Friday I'm already overpacked, which is a good thing again.
Yeah.
I'm more in the field right now, but on my off times, I do listen to Alex Hermosi, and then for sales, I listen to Jeremy Miner.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
so a lot of the stuff that I post, like the scripts and stuff, I get inspiration from Jeremy Miner and Alex Hermosi.
All right.
Yeah,
So David Cabrera, how do you
yes.
say it in
Cabrera,
Spanish? And say it again.
Cabrera,
There you go. So you can find him at David at what's the your email?
um, Sales Hound Dave.
Saleshound Dave.
Yeah, that's my Instagram. That's how you can find
Oh,
me.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and
And your
on the
email at
David at builderslandsource.com.
David at builderslandsource.com. And how can they find out about your CRM again? In Inicio.
Yeah, Inicio dot media.
Okay. Cool
Yeah,
deal.
www
And those will
dot
all be in
inicio
the
dot media.
description.
Okay.
Yeah, those will all be in the description so you can find him. And if you need, he's an integrator. So if you need help in that area, he could probably help you out too. So y'all give him a shout. We need to hook up. We need to set up something here in Houston. Do it because Power Hours kind of dwindled down a little bit. We need to start another
Mhm.
one.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe we should take that
Most
upon
certainly
ourselves.
on my
Yeah,
free times, I'm willing to impart what has been given to me because I understand the power of lending a hand to someone else. Yeah, I mean,
cool.
yeah, the only thing though is they gotta take action, because if you're just
Don't waste my time.
if you're consuming information and not taking action, then we're back at square one.
Yeah, right. And I don't consider action sitting on the couch consuming information. Yeah, that's not action taking.
Yeah.
That's consumption, not action. So,
Mhm.
man, I
Yeah.
appreciate your time. We're at a little over an hour, so I'm gonna end it now. Anything else you want to add? Any tips to newbies starting out?
Mm, well, yeah, just try and seek out someone that can give you a hand, and just make a call, pick up the phone and learn from the mistakes. Okay, here's a good one. Fail as quick as possible for
Right, because it's gonna
newbies.
happen.
Just quickly fail. Just aim for the no. Just get it over with. Rip up the band-aid.
Exactly. Yeah, because we all think, hey, oh, I can get past the failure. Maybe I won't fail, but fail happens. Failure
Mhm.
happens. So embrace it.
Mhm.
That's where we learn. David, thank you for your time. I'm gonna have to ask you to stay in here for a little bit after I cut out. We got to let this download, and that's gonna be it, man. I do appreciate your time. Everything will be in the description to find David and his businesses. So appreciate you, man.
I appreciate you inviting me. Hopefully I can come back and give more information.
Definitely, we'll have you back on. We'll check on you in 6 months to a year. How's that?
Sounds good.
All right, I'm gonna end this. All right, let's do this.